You have about 5 minutes to make a great first impression with a hiring manager. And in this video, I want to share with you some things that you can do to prepare for your interview. Even if it is tomorrow, I would have loved more notice, but I'll take what I can get. Or you have a few days, if not weeks, to prepare. We're going to give you some of the best tips to help you really knock the socks off of your interview and grow in this necessary skill to really have a great career and ultimately get a job offer. There's been so many surveys over the years that basically point to this simple fact with recruiters and hiring managers, that they make a decision about whether or not they're going to hire you or whether or not they even like you in the first few minutes. Now, I have to point this out. This is not logic. This isn't because a person is the best on paper to fit a role. It is an emotional decision. We are emotional creatures, and we have to acknowledge that. And luckily, according to decades of research called impression management, which career nerds with PhDs study this information, they have found that you can get better at this skill through interview prep. And that's really the first tip that we want to talk about. It is so important for you to do preparation before the interview. This means a couple of things. It means preparing yourself about the company, understanding their competition, understanding what this company is faced with, what challenges that they have, what is plaguing the industry at large if you don't know much about the industry. It means doing your due diligence about the people that you're interviewing. Look them up on LinkedIn, connect with them, look to see where they've gone in their career. If they are potentially your manager, knowing a lot more information about them and flavoring your questions and conversations during the interview with this information can show that you care, you are concerned about whether or not this is an employee employer you want to work for. I am shocked by the lack of preparation that people do in preparation for an interview. Whenever I've hired someone, it is generally the person who has put forth the effort to understand who I am, what my company is all about, and what we do on a day-to-day basis. Those people that do that research, really great impression. It shows that they care. They're willing to take the time because they know that their time, their energy, their commitment, it's important. You should do the same. Demonstrate that by knowing information before you even walk in the door. The next step is related to practicing. If you were to go to a Broadway play and you could tell that the actors and actresses didn't know their lines, that'd probably be a very poor experience, right? Well, they've practiced in most situations. They know their lines, they've memorized them, and it's a blissful 100% accurate performance. Of course, there's mistakes here and there, but it's because they put in the time to practice. This is the key component we recommend you do for every single interview. Practice answering common questions. Tell me about yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Why should we hire you? Knowing how you're going to answer them beforehand can give off a better performance. In fact, the literature proves this, that those that prepare with the questions that they know they may or may not be asked during the interview conveys a better impression to the hiring manager or recruiter. One of the pro tips that we recommend in our course, Interview Mastery, which, by the way, you can access for free just by clicking a link below, join our community, and it's all there for you, CE certified, is to record yourself. Kind of like I'm doing right now, I'm talking to a camera. And by practicing this skill, you can get better. Look, as a pharmacist, you needed feedback from professors, mentors, and preceptors in order to perform the job that you now do. It is through feedback that you can significantly improve on this skill. And it is a skill. It's impression management. And it's being able to properly communicate with someone else what you are great at. You can totally do this by simply just recording yourself with a phone, with your camera on your computer, and just watch yourself later after the recording, not right away, wouldn't recommend that. Separate some time and watch yourself on how you answer the typical questions. Tell me about yourself. What's your greatest strength? What's your greatest weakness? What's your greatest accomplishment? Why should we hire you? If you don't know how you're going to answer those questions now, what makes you think you're going to do a great job in an interview without any kind of practice? Those Broadway professionals spend hours, weeks, if not months, practicing meticulously for a 2-hour performance. Look, I'm not asking you to be a Broadway actor or actress, but you can be that level of refined and professional in an interview through practicing and watching yourself. I know, you've heard. I felt the shiver down your spine when I said record yourself. Most people feel that way, but look, this is the best way for you to improve. And if you can get over the pain of watching yourself, because if you have pain watching it, imagine what other people feel about watching your performance when you're anxious in an interview. Please watch yourself. The next tip I want to give you is to ask great questions. I know that sounds easy on paper, but honestly, if you aren't asking questions during the interview, you are wasting your time. If you're just hoping that like you answer the right questions in the right way, and then that means they're going to give you a job, yeah, it's unlikely. Unless you have a job referral and you're a shoe-in somehow, or you're a part of the family. I don't know. But you need to be able to engage in a conversation. I remember learning in college from someone outside of pharmacy who said that the more you can make an interview into a conversation, a back and forth, getting to know each other versus a one-way street of the interviewer just asking questions and then it's the interviewee's turn to ask questions of the employer. Like, it's so traditional, it's so rigid, and it's so non-fluid. Put that in a different context. Imagine going to a dinner party where that's the way someone interacts with you. They just ask you questions and you don't ask anything in return. You just give them information. It's awkward for both people. I would hate to be on a date like that. Thank God I'm married. But what you can do is by answering a question, relate it back to them. If you share your greatest strength, ask. I think this skill is really valued in your industry. It seems like most of the professionals here have a great experience using this skill. Is that true? Do I understand this role correctly? By having a little bit of back and forth, you can have that conversation. And I already hear my rule following pharmacists in the audience. I even know some managers are going to watch this and say, no, that would be unacceptable. I would hate it. Okay, fine. To get real with you here for a sec. If you are just hoping to get a job somewhere, you will likely feel that way again in the future. If you can hold yourself to a high standard of who you're willing to give the majority of your time in life to for a period of time, that means you deserve to work at a place that respects you. If they're unwilling to have a conversation with you, do you really want to work with someone like that? Isn't every relationship give and take a little bit? Do we have to follow these rules all the time? Look, if you want those rules and you want to live by them, great. There's plenty of companies that will follow those rules. This is an advanced pro tip that if you can practice and get better at, the more these things are a conversation, the easier it is for you to negotiate, even during the interview, to change the position. I interviewed as an academic when I was really trying to figure my life out, and I thought I was going to be a professor one day. During my interview, they wanted me to be in a clinical care practice. I didn't want that. I didn't tell them that, but I didn't want it. But as I was interviewing and asking questions, I was learning more about what I was hoping to find out, which is that they needed someone in student success or career affairs, whatever, student affairs, whatever you want to call that department. And I was like, that's what I want. And as I was speaking with the clinical department head and the vice dean, I was able to say, like, this is what I want. And they were crafting it with me. They were talking about, okay, well, then that would mean you'd be under this person and that would be this change about the program. So please Please ask great questions. And you can only do that if you do your research and you understand what the company is looking for. Final tip that I would want to give you is to follow up. Physically write a thank you card. The more consideration you put into the interview process, the higher likelihood it is of you being considered a top candidate. Yes, it's more and more common to just write a thank you note through email, but honestly, you'd be doing yourself a huge favor just by writing things out. It's very rare that we receive anything handwritten these days, and it's an easy way to stand out from the crowd. But if you're at this point and you're like, I still don't know how to answer certain questions, I would love templates to help me write those thank you cards, I would love to learn how to practice, then please join our free community. It's on Circle and it has all of our courses, not just interviews, but resumes, negotiating, LinkedIn, networking, all of the things that you need to know how to do in order to grow your career. I would encourage you to join. It's free to do so if you're in the US or Canada. And we would love to have you in our community so that we can help you go from where you are into something you actually enjoy. Because it's only if we can change this profession that will make things better. We have to stop accepting poor working conditions and bad employers that just create this bad behavior so that we can get to the jobs that are great, to really enjoy the work we do, to make the biggest difference and impact on our patients, so that all of the quote bad and toxic work cultures that are out there will be forced to change because they can't keep their employees if they keep leaving. That's my dream and that's my hope. And I hope that you are along for the journey as well. Thanks for watching this video. And until I see you in the next one, stay curious and take care.